All right, with this set, we talk about more types of crosses and variants. There is simple Mendelian inheritance that we've already done, and we've done incomplete dominance, we've done codominance. A concept we really haven't talked about here is wild type. Wild type is just the most common allele. So if you have the wild type, maybe black hair is the wild type hair color for humans. It would just mean that's the most common one. And it's usually a dominant trait. Not always, but usually dominant. And so it would be for hair color, big B for black hair might be the wild type hair color for humans, where little b is blonde and big B, little b is brown hair. So that would make sense in wild types, except for the fact that um, there are about 12 different genes that determine your hair color. So there probably is one that gives you much darker hair, and that might be big B, but there would need to be a combination of several other genes that need to interact with it to give you your exact color of hair. Hair color is actually quite complex. All right, a mutant allele, which is what they're trying to say underneath here. This has been cut off. Mutants are just the a unique variant of the wild type. Usually the DNA has been altered and it alters the phenotype, and therefore you have what we call a mutant. Something like, you know, there are very rare mutants sometimes. They're just and new ones. So somebody might be born with blue hair someday. They have a blue pigment from a mutation. Now, I've never seen that. Blue is a very rare color in nature. There aren't very many animals or plants that are blue in color, and that would make this a really wild mutation to have a blue hair color. But we can probably genetically engineer that someday if you wanted blue hair permanently. But why need it? You can just dye it and then change it when you want it. So simple Mendelian inheritance. This is what we've been This is what we've been doing. The worksheets you've done are primarily Mendelian inheritance, and we haven't really done sex linked, and we've done codominance, but we've never done dihybrids or sex linked. So you saw them in the last slides. That is the sex linked. All right, so simple Mendelian inheritance. You've already seen this, so I'm really not going to go over this. This is a repeat. Now there is a term called pleiotropy. Um, Pleiotropy is the idea that some genes have more than one effect, more than one function. So when you change one gene, you might change many different things. So what if hair color and eye color were controlled by the same gene? Well, that would be pleiotropy. So it's not a complex idea. This is the kind of thing I would ask as a multiple choice question. So there might have other issues. Some genes get turned off in some genes and turned on in others, and they may have a different effect in different cells. So they're kind of talking about this here. Also, you may have genes that are only turned on or off at different times in your life. There's a gene for you to digest milk, and in the majority of people in the world, after they get to adolescence, they can no longer digest milk because that gene gets turned off. That is also a case of pleiotropy. In other words, pleiotropy has three components to it, and one of them might be like here. This would be like as you get older, you can't digest milk. Here, it might be that the gene has a different effect in a different cell type. So it might do one thing in your eyes, but a different thing in your hair follicles. So, in other words, it's a hair color gene, but it's also the eye color gene at the same time. And when you change it, you may be changing both your eye color and your hair color. And then this one is, it can affect it in two different ways. So, it affects maybe hair color and whether or not it's curly or not. So, it could have more than one effect on a cell. So this is pleiotropy. It just means it's not just one gene and one effect. It means there can be multiple effects, and here are the three types of multiple effects that you can. Now, this is a potential essay question, and if I ask an essay question on pleiotropy, you need to be able to say, tell me about all three of these. So study this, get all three down clear in your mind so that you can write about them. Here we're back to cystic fibrosis, and it's an example of one of these because it does something slightly different in different cells. It got mucus in the lungs, changes salt content, all kinds of things like that. So it has multiple effects on your body, so multiple phenotypes. Incomplete dominance, we've already gone over. This is when you have a blending of the two alleles. A big H and little h is not the same as the two homozygous combinations. All right, and we've done that. And codominance, we've also gone over. The most common example is blood type, and we did that one. But I also did one with flowers, so you're going to need to know both of those examples, the flower example and how that worked, but also how blood types work. And I will skip over that. You might want to read about the antigens on the outside of the cell. I also made another video that talks about this where I explain it. I think that probably I explain it a little better than the book. Reading it can be complex, trying to figure out their symbols and stuff, and I just draw it for you, so it's a little easier. All right, modeling. Don't worry about this. We will talk about some stuff like this later, but not right now.